Okay, it's recording. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening if you're watching it at those times. We'll start activity 10 with the Philippine admin one. Actually, I can remove this. So we can really start from zero. So go to layers, add vector layer, go to our qGIS, my data, vectors, Philippine shape, click admin one, add, close, and you start out with this. Or alternatively, you can just remove this and insert our activity 3. So go to USCGIS, output, vectors, and look for um, uh, Philippine admin 1 provs. This should be our activity 3, if I'm not mistaken. Now, you need to open both, otherwise. This is one way to do it. See. Layer, go to the create layer, no, add layer, add vector layer. qGIS, my data, vectors, Philippine shape 1, and in 1. Okay, add, close. Let me just change the color for this. Symbology, let's say just outline. I could change the fill to white. So that's how you start off with this. Well, not entirely so, because you need to have like different colors on your maps. And the shortcut to this is just open activity 3. If you go to your USCGIS output, projects, open activity 3, wait for it to open. They're just giving us like I think the instructor got a little bit tired towards the end, because he could have just told us to open activity 3, and activity 3 is already here. But I think for the benefit of this video, we can just redo activity 3. So this is activity 3. You can start off with activity 3, or you could like start from scratch over here. And the way to get those different colors, you just go to properties. From single symbol, you go to like categorize. You can select ramp colors, apply. Oh, sorry, classify, apply. Oh, wait. Graduated? Let's see. But, oh, I didn't put a value. My bad. Let's see, ID 01. That's one way to get the different colors. They're different, this is categorized by area, I think. You can also change it to categorize and do it by, I think, name would be good. So you have Bohol, Cebu, apply. You can change the colors to another set, let's say this one. So that's just a quick way of adding different colors. This one, you don't really need it. You can go to properties and just uncheck that, or like delete. Why did it say delete all? Anyway, those are the ways to get colors if you have forgotten activity 3. So I'm just gonna use activity 3 because it's a lot faster. I'll close this. So starting from activity 03, you already have your names, etc., etc. And you'll just need to save this as activity 10. I'll call this demo. And then from here, you go to new print layout and just say region 7, region 7 class demo, because I already have a region 7 file. Right click, as Sir Kent told me, page properties. Again, right click, page properties. It will show you the size of the page. Go to letter, orientation set to portrait, and then you click over here, adds a new map to a layout. So you're adding a new map. And the new map is the activity 3, or the qGIS file that's currently open. And if you close this qGIS file while the composition, sort of the layout window is running, it will also close the layout window. But continuing on with the activity, you see here, the goal is to like add all our symbology, the coordinates, etc. So we just need to follow the steps here. So we saved it, we went to the new composition window, set the composition to short band, export resolution. I don't know why you need to put Word file on, but it's not really an option here anymore. I think it's saying obsolete. And then we minimize that. Click new map tool, everything portrait. Just change the resolution setting to 600 dpi. That should be over here. Oops. Grid space. Is that important? I hate that moving my cursor at the wrong place will actually change these things. So it's set to mm by default. So I better put that back to mm. Switch the DPI to 600. And then save Word file. And I'll just lower the brightness of my screen a bit. Or maybe just turn on the lights. It's getting dark here. Hang on. Not that much difference with the lights on. Anyway, going over to export resolution, blah, blah, blah. Go to extents, click the grid, open properties. Under extents, you just copy the setting. So many files open. So if you copy these extents over here, I can't select what are the markup tools. Anyway, you can see my mouse over here. So this part, 112, 122, and then etc. etc. You copy those settings. 122.549, 8.971. This is optional when you're actually practicing, but since we have the guide here, we might as well use it. 715 and 11.823. This will ensure that the setup is exactly the same as the one we have here. Then check the grid type. It's currently named map 1, but we can rename it. 0. And we can check the grid type to cross. Grids, add new grid, modify grid, grid type to cross. Map unit is 1. Interval is map unit. Interval is 1.1. Just like make it 1. So that's 1. And that's 1. Okay. And then frame style, interior ticks. Make sure you go here. Interior ticks. And you see they're like a little bit of crosshairs over here. I'm going to zoom in a bit on that so you can see the changes. And then icon properties. Stance grids, under grids, modify grid. So it's interior checks, add 2, frame margin is like 0, no problem. Frame line thickness is 0.3, and that should be it. And check coordinates as well, so you see the coordinates appear, which is the next step over here. You have your coordinates there, we have our coordinates here. Then we're going to add a frame that's down here. Oh, sorry, it's back at the map grid properties. So just check frame. Just leave it at default. Then we'll add scale bars and follow the settings for the scale bars. So the scale bar option is over here. I'll just minimize this. Scale bar option is here. Just follow the settings on the guide. Let's see, I'm on the scale bar. Going to the display. Segments is left 0, right 2. Fixed width is 25. Also, it says here in meters times 1,000 for kilometers, but there's already a setting for kilometers. But let's see what happens when I do it like this. JM, and then change that to 25,000. And then the spacing is 3 mm. Line width should be pretty much the same. And again, check. You don't need to check anything else. That's what this is what the scale bar looks like. So you can move that over here because we're going to put the legend over here. Just making sure that fits. Legend tool is over here. Let's do that. And then it comes with a background already. And you can just change the name. It says in the guide, Philippine region 7 provinces. And you can just put here the name, what is pink? Bohol, Cebu, because Cebu is steel, Negros, Oriental, and then that should be Siquijor. Use for Siquijor. Missed a U. Siquijor. So it automatically changes in the legend. And you can just call this Philippine. Click OK. And you can change it a bit so it fits. And go down here, check the frame. And that's pretty much it. You can also change the font. Oh, excuse me. By clicking on position and size. Oh no, that's not it. Here we go. Sorry, fonts, text, and formatting. This Region 7 title is actually categorized as subgroup font. So look what happens when I change the size. And I'm changing the size using the middle mouse wheel, or the mouse wheel. There's only one. Alternatively, you can go in here and type the font that you want, 17, 16. I just want it like around that size. And I think the default is already pretty good, but you can change, just know that you can change the fonts over here in font and text formatting. And then the guide tells us that we need to put some other labels. Let me just zoom out here a bit. Actually need to move this to make room for some of our labels. And that's fine. So this tool here, the move item content, is the thing that lets you move the inside of the let's just say viewport in CAD. So this is technically a viewport if you know your AutoCAD. So you can just move that around until you're happy, and then you can move this around as well. So let me just like make that fit the bar, the borders a bit better. And you can use your arrow keys to just edit it. It's almost like working with PowerPoint at this stage. Now put some more labels. See here, following the guide. Oh, wait, that's not labels. Labels is over here. Following the guide, we should put a coordinate referencing system is WGS 84 parenthesis geographic. You can change the text over here. Coordinate referencing system. WGS 84 geographic. And this just tells like whoever's looking at the map what CRS you're using, and that's important for like geographers because it's like slightly there are like different variations. Um, and then I'm not super familiar with what the different variations are. Click center to make it go center. Just adjust a little bit, and then again click frame and minimize that. Click background. So you can have that like a clean look. And you can just move that over there and create a new one. This time we just say this thing here will say drawn for, or like instead of saying drawn for, we can just say USC architecture, USC landscape architecture. And then underneath, just put your name. Oh, sorry, we also need to put the date, 18 December 2020, and then your name. And then just justify everything to the center. And then add the frame, minimize, add the background. And you can just like tweak it. You can move this. So just be aware too that if you're on the border, it changes to this up and down symbol, which won't let you move the item, but like move the border only. So you have to go to the center of the item to be able to move it. So that's the edge, you're at the edge, and then you're there at the center. So the cursor changes. I'll just move that a little bit. Okay, so we're all within the border. And then one more label here on top. Region 7 provinces. And let's put map as well. Put it center, increase the font, something like that. And then put the frame, minimize, put the background, and you're good. And you can move it a bit to the center. And then what else do we need? We got our scale bar. I don't really want to put the frame on the scale bar. And north, a north symbol. So you can just insert north over here. Put it, let's say over here. And then, depending on how you downloaded your QGIS, you can have different you can have this like search directories. And then the searching directories should load up these different symbols. And you'll just look for a north that looks good. I prefer this north symbol. Let's leave it like that. And then basically, the guide tells us that this is as much as you can do with QGIS. So if you get this stage, that's fine. I'll still grade you a I'll still give you a perfect score for this, because apparently in order to put this symbol here, you need to save this as a JPEG, close the QGIS file, I mean the composition file or the layout file, go into the QGIS file, change the colors and remove the labels, and then create another QGIS file. Wait, let me just check. Check world map. Wait, it should be able to let me do this because I see the symbols here. Let me just lock everything. Lock this. Everything is locked. I'll save the layout as, no wait, I'll export this as image, fast demo.pif, save, generate work file, save. So if you get to this point, you're pretty much done, and I would record that as a perfect score. But this part here, this is an error I've been having for those in my class who were here earlier, that what happens when I try to edit the properties, make everything single symbol, I like single symbol, black, and remove the labels like this, and then go to the layout file and insert a new file, put it over here. It makes everything black. I don't know if this is a new feature or an old feature that they brought back. It's really annoying, because the guide would have you believe that you can just do this and you're fine. But then the second you import this new file and it's black, or change, or like more specifically, change the settings in the original QGIS file, it changes everything in the layout file, which makes sense because that's how AutoCAD works, right? If you change something in the source file, it would change everything in the print layout. So what's happening here in the guide is that you have to save it with the colored version, close QGIS, open it again, make a black version, close QGIS, and then what happens here at the end is that you insert both layouts into a photo editing software. He says, the guide says Word, and then you have to combine the two JPEG files into one map, which is really, really strange. So if you can make it look like this, make it look like better than my index map over here, and that will be plus points. If you missed something in the previous submissions, you can get additional points if you do this extra step. But if you get let me just undo this. Properties, turn on the labels, apply, okay. Properties, symbology, add categorize, select value, name one, classify, apply. If you get to this point, and I think that's already good. Actually, we can push it a bit further and do this. Bring that center there. It's really messy, given that the text covers most of the Philippines. You can add some borders and frames to this. Over here. There. You can do something like this, but it's really not the same as the one that we have in the guide. If you can get something like this, that's good. Be sure to write your name, the date, and be sure to have like different colors. So everything is a different color, so we know it's your original file. And that's pretty much it for the last activity. So you can now edit vectors, create vectors, play around with raster images, and then create a map layout. So that will be everything you need for intro to QGIS. And eventually we'll explore more functions in the next subject. And then I will have more practice with it over the Christmas break. Okay, so that's all of activity 10. Please submit by December 21, that's Monday. And yep, if you finish all your submissions, then great. If not, I'll be forced to give you INC. So that's the end of the lesson. Thank you so much for attending, and I'll see you, next time, if you're still under me. Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you